Shalom. First and foremost, call Allah and Wakabah, La Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Aruchakwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of the great millstone who tell us the truth, who rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect tabernacle of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Now, there's a reason why we always quote in the book of Corinthians. I believe it's 2 Corinthians, the 6th chapter, where Apostle Paul gave the admonition to the church to not give any offense, that the ministry be not blamed. Because we understand that the accuser of the brethren, he's itching, all right? He's lurking and he's looking for something. So when you have this kind of behavior going on, we know that this devil loves to paint us all with a broad brush. You know, guys like Vocab, you know, he'll be waiting in the trenches for these type of stories so he can cover it, so he can, pretty much use it to smear the so-called Israelite community, so to speak. All right. So, just in case, they may try to do that, blow the story up and, use it to blow up the reputation of the Israelites. I thought I'd, just do a quick response to it. And as you can see, this is the heading, and this is in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And it says, Fort Bend County mother sentenced to 30 years for failing to protect 13-year-old child bride of 47-year-old man. And, we got our scoffers and scorners. We got people that, they differ in opinion, when it comes to, certain customs. That's, clearly in the scriptures, when you dealing with, that old ancient Hebraic culture, which is based on, the Eastern world, is not Western at all. If you have a westernized mindset, you're going to be offended. You're not going to agree with it. You're going to beg to differ. All right. And people that hold that mindset, you will demonize them. All right. And that's what this couple, this is what they should have known. That this is something that you do not do in this society. Yeah, in the ancient world, it was a moment in time when we married young. Right. Once the woman got her flower, when she got her menstrual, that means that biologically, physically, her body was ready to reproduce. So that was around the time when she was allowed to marry. But you can't do that in this society. You would get thrown under the jail. So they didn't use wisdom. So they got what they got. And that's why, let's get real quick. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 10. Because, if this was the ancient world and we were back in Jerusalem, there would have been nothing wrong with that. The man wouldn't have gotten persecuted. He wouldn't have got, put in prison. The mom wouldn't have got put in prison. All right, because that was the norm back then. But now, you do that now under Esau's rule, that goes against his ordinance. We're not in our kingdom. We're not sovereign. We're still in captivity. So we got to be mindful of how to move and how to operate. Do we still keep the commandments to the best of our ability? Yes, we do. We try to keep it and we observe it. But there's certain things that you cannot do in this setup. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 23. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things edify not. Meaning, even though something may be lawful, but that's not beneficial or profitable to you, especially if it's going to cost you your freedom. Why would you put yourself in that situation? Why not be more disciplined? But some of these dudes, they come into this thing and they use the grace of our Lord and turn it into lasciviousness, and that's not what this is about. Yeah, we have liberty in the Lord, but it's just certain things that you don't do. And going back to Apostle Paul, he gave certain admonitions on how to conduct yourself. All right, because we behind enemy lines, man. This devil, he's itching, he's waiting. He's sitting in the cut, man, looking for something. And some of you dudes, you just because of your careless attitude and mindset, you just do what you want to do. All right. We're not to make any offense that the ministry be not blamed. All right, let's get real quick. I think it might be in Titus what I'm looking for. Let me see if it's here. Yeah, this is one of them. Titus 2 verse 7. It says, I'll start at 6. It says, young men likewise exhort to be sober-minded, in all things showing thyself a good pattern of good works, in doctrine showing uncorruptness, gravity, sincerity, sound speech that cannot be condemned, that he that is of the contrary part may be ashamed, having no evil thing to say of you. You want to be blameless. We don't want to be buffeted for our own wrongdoings. If we're going to be buffeted, we're going to be persecuted, it's for the name of Hamashiach. Okay? Other than that, you're blameless, and the Lord's going to justify his elect. There is no condemnation to them that are in Yahweh Shai. All right, who will lay charge to his very elect? So we got to show that good pattern of good works, be an example. Now, like I said, that wouldn't have been wrong if we were in the kingdom. But right now, you don't do that. Okay? And there was even instructions on that. When we're in captivity, the Most High, he rules in the kingdom of men. So whoever the Lord sets up, you're not to resist that order. So real quick, let's go to I think it's 1 Peter 2. Yep. 1 Peter 2, starting at verse 13. And it says, honor authority, right? Which Esau right now, because he's in power, he the one that dictates all the policies and laws of the land. Right? So we got to fall up under that and still try to make way for us to follow our laws, statutes, and commandments. We can't do everything. Like, for example, the law says we're supposed to put a mole to sleep. We can't do that. You catch a woman in the act of adultery, her and the man, you're supposed to put them to sleep. You can't do that. So even laws, dealing with marriage, back then, once your woman, once a female passed the flower of her age, it was lawful. But in the West, under his authority, that doesn't ride. You pretty much got to get a used woman in this world, as messed up as it is. Because this man, he's the devil, man. He's not going to do right. So, but since we up under him, we got to deal with that. 1 Peter 2 verse 13, it says, submit yourselves to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether it be to the king as supreme or unto governors. And you got to check your state. All right, the age of consent laws or marriage laws in each very state, because it varies, which shows you that this devil, he don't know how to rule. Because you go from one state to another, the age of consent is different in each state. Some states as low as 15. Certain states is like where I live at in Vegas, in Nevada, the state of Nevada, the age is 16. And California, the very next state over, is 18. So if I decide to deal with a woman that was 17, which would be lawful in Nevada, but if we came over into California and it was found out that I was dealing with the 17-year-old woman who happened to be from Nevada, whereas the age her age is legal, guess what? I would be persecuted under the law in California. So you gotta have that wisdom, man. It says, or unto governors, as unto them that are sent by him, for the punishment of evildoers and for the praise of them that do well. Okay? So you got to submit yourself to their ordinances, man. Now, when it goes against the law, statutes, commandments, then that's when you take that stand. All right? No, we're not finna consent to that whole alphabet thing, you know, and the use of certain pronouns because you don't want to offend nobody. Nah, hell no, man. We gonna stand up on what's right. All right? When it comes down to for him to mandate that the charagma, fuck it, you know. We're gonna put our life on the line to not disobey the Most High and through his only begotten son. But laws like that, man, you have control, man. So certain dudes, you know, they not thinking with their head upstairs. They thinking with the lower head. All right, and that can cost you, man. Even Apostle Paul said, I will not be brought up under the power of any, man. Even though it may be lawful, but I'm not going to be brought up on. I'm gonna subject myself. I will not be given or put under the power of any. You gotta have the mastery, man. You gotta have temperance, self-control. And dudes get in this thing and they lose control. That's not how it's supposed to operate. All right, it says, for so is the will of the Most High, that with well-doing you may put to silence the ignorance of foolish men. All right, as free and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of the Most High. And that's what we are, man. We serve Yahweh through his only begotten son, Yahushai, man. And, you know, those of us that walk in Yahushai, we have to, you know, walk in the gospel, man. We got to, you know, be as blameless as we possibly can. That our enemies have nothing evil to say about us. All they can really do is just try to come up with something. You know, like they did the Lord. They falsely accused him of blasphemy. Even Pontius Pilate was like, this man is innocent. You know what? I'm going to wash, my hands is washed. You know? Because he didn't find nothing wrong in Yahushai, man. And his wife, she even got plagued in her dreams about the Lord. So when they try to come for us, we know the Most High is going to step in. Because the Lord's chosen, they're justified. So anyway, you know, I didn't even get a chance to even read, you know, into the story, but, you know, I had to go into some of those precepts to put everything in perspective. This devil, he's going to be looking, man. He's looking to catch us. That's why he's known as the accuser of the brethren, that accuse us day and night to the Father, man. Trying to find fault. You know? And I mean, the way these different groups, you know, operate, you know, they're going to bunch us all in together because they got to paint a narrative. Yeah, this is what they do. They'll take, you know, maybe a little edited clip of a brother saying something out on the streets without getting the full context, and I'll try to apply it, man. All right, but hey, we have to suffer. The Lord, let's get that. It's really, we in this thing to suffer because the Lord had to suffer. Philippians 1 and 29, and it says, for unto you it is given in the behalf of a Mashiach, not only to believe on him, but also to suffer for his sake. And you're going to suffer being persecuted. You're going to suffer, you know, being reviled, you know, being evil spoken of, you know, falsely accused. That's going to happen because they did it to him. They did it to his servants, his disciples, those that followed him. It happened. So, you know, we're not exempt from that. Having the same conflict which you saw in me and now here to be in me. All right, let's get 1 Peter 2 and verse 20. And it says, for what glory is it if when you be buffeted for your faults, you shall take it patiently, But if when you do well and suffer for it, you take it patiently, this is acceptable with the Most High. For even hereunto were you called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us, leaving us an example that you should follow his steps. And if it's something that you know Yahweh Shai wouldn't be doing, you don't do it, because you're trying to follow in his steps. You following his example, right? Yeah, when they was asking about paying Caesar's the taxes, because the Pharisees, they didn't really, they didn't believe in doing that. Well, Yahweh Shai said, because they were trying to catch him up to see what he would say, and even on that coin that they was paying, I think it was the denarius, I think it was Augustus Caesar, and it had the inscription on it, and it basically refers to him as basically God, like as if he's a god. So they was really trying to trip Yahweh Shai up, as if, are you going to say that when you pay that, what's on that coin, right? So are you saying that that's, Caesar is God? And that's why the Lord responded and said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and render to the Most High what is the Most High's. So that means what? He was under the ordinance of the emperor, under that empire. All right. We were under Rome. So we had to pay taxes. They was under the consensus. They had to, his father Joseph, he had to go up to Bethlehem and sign the papers, because that's what they had to do. But because why? Because the powers that be were ordained of the Most High, so they was under those ordinances, man. They had to submit themselves, right? So Yahweh Shai was blameless. It says, who did no sin, neither was guile found in his mouth. Who, when he was reviled not again. When he suffered, he threatened not, but committed himself to him that judgeth righteously. All right. Hey, leave it in the Most High's hands, man. The Lord, he's a righteous judge, and he's going to justify his men. All right. No weapon that is formed against us will prosper. And anyone that rose up against these men in judgment, those men are going to condemn them. All right. So, we ain't got no worries, but we got to expect things like this to happen. All right. You got dudes that's moving real weird and funny. You got agent provocateurs moving in some of these camps that are literally set up as sleeper cells, to bring bad blood to the whole, organization of whichever camp. Okay. So we just got to be mindful, man. So, I didn't even get a chance to read it, but, I'll leave a link to it in the description box. So basically, this woman, she allowed for her daughter, who's considered a minor, to marry this guy. He was an older man, and it was due to their religious faith, which in this article, it says that they were Israelites. Yeah, I'll read that part. It says, investigators looked into the Fort Bent County clerk's office and did not find any records of a marriage license. The sheriff's office said it was not a legal marriage, but that Cardi and the team considered themselves married based on religious beliefs, which we know, according to the scriptures, when a man lays with a woman, that's an act of marriage. When two join together in one flesh, you become twain, you become one flesh. All right, that's the consummation of marriage, is when a man and a woman lays down. Society, this world doesn't teach that. They teach you got to jump over the broom, you got to go to the state and make the state the third party in your marriage, and they get to oversee and watch it. They get to play God over your union, and that's not biblical. Nate, the IUIC, they teach that, and that's not biblical. It was a transaction. You went to the father first, and you told him, I want to marry your daughter. The daughter saw fit. All right, well, 50 shekels. Let's we'll write some, I'll give you the receipt. We write the papers up, and then, we have the wedding feast, and then you go into the bed chambers, you pop her cherry, He put the cloth up under there. She bled upon the cloth, and she had the token of her virginity. That's how it went. But society is totally different under this devil. All right. So anyway, it says, a detective said the family lived in the Sugar Land area and are part of the Hebrew Israelites faith. And that's all the people need to see. All them Hebrew Israelites. Them dudes that be on the street corner with the Bibles screaming loud at people. You know? Them extremists out there with them long robes on, looking crazy, you know. That's all they need to see. And once they see that, I don't want to hear another word them dudes got to say. Them dudes marrying 13, 14-year-old girls and this and that, you know? And you're going to have enemies because of what you stand for, because of your belief. And are you going to be willing to stand upon it? And that's the question. The Lord said, who will stand up for me against the evildoers, or who will rise up for me against the workers of iniquity? You know? It's about faith, and your faith is going to be tested. Because people are going to come against us, man. They're going to demonize the truth. We're going to be reviled. And Yahushua said, blessed are you when these things shall happen. Matthew 5, verse 11, it says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. So it comes with the territory. We know what we stand upon is righteous. All right. And if it wasn't righteous, then tell me why this current world is the way it is, knowing that it doesn't follow what we follow. All the laws that are in the scriptures and in the Mosaic law, you think the world would be the way it was if Esau held to that law? Hell no. So we know what we standing upon is right. Okay? So, you know, we gotta, you know, the righteous are gonna get persecuted. You know, when you stand up against the evil, it says that in Isaiah 59. You know, when you depart from the evil, you make yourself a prey. All right? And then with these type of things going on, you know, it's going to make it worse. You know, people going to look for something. They're going to, you know, this is part of that smudge. But it's all good, man. All right, so do we condone what this dude did? No, we don't. Do we teach that is lawful? Yeah, but like Apostle Paul said, all things are lawful, but they're not expedient. All things are not expedient. All right? They went totally off, and now they got to deal with that. Now they're dealing with the judgment behind that. All right, this is not our world. All right? So, you know, that's pretty much the lesson right there, man. All right? And you know, I just want to you know, go into that. You know, I'm pretty sure maybe a few other brothers might go into it, but you know, hey, you know, there's gonna be more things that come down the line. All right. But we're gonna continue to stand upon righteousness, and we're gonna, you know, maintain our faith, our integrity, our character. All right. So anyway, you know, I'm gonna end off with that. I'm gonna give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And until the next lesson, Shalom.